Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a great day. We have our friend Ryan back here. He's just going to be observing and watching kind of what we do here on the day today. So, again, hope you guys are all having a great start to your morning. I've taken 2 positions during pre-market hours. There's 4 minutes until the market opens. I kind of wanted to break down what I see trending up, what I see trending down, and then get some insight of what it is that you guys are seeing value in for today as well. So let me make sure. I think we're all good to go, right? So I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I was trading. My first position, this was on ticker symbol DGAS, which is the inverse ETF of UGAS. $75 here on the day. Literally just locked it in like 3 minutes ago. And then we got the inverse ETF. This was the first position that I took advantage of. It was $180 and I left so much on the table. So it was actually at 103 when I originally took the position. 103.30 if I'm not mistaken, and sold at 102.50. I have the orders anyways. Let's see. Let's pull these up. Order history. So bought DGAS at, no, that was my, so 102.30 and then sold at 103.20, but it actually filled at 103.30 altogether. The really bummy thing about that was that, obviously I sold at 103, around 103.30, and it pushed up about another 2.5, 2.6% to a little bit above 106. Again, I knew that the middle VWAP was most likely going to act as a resistance. Again, it's pre-market hours. I didn't want to risk it too much. I was able to lock in $180 on this specific position. I would have been able to make, what is that? Almost exceeded my daily goal. I would have been closer to $1,000, especially with the $75 that I made here. So the reason that I locked in profits here on ticker symbol DGAS is because I saw it making lower lows, lower highs, and I saw the potential of it being rejected by this EMA indicator. Again, I got in before the confirmation, so I knew I needed to play it in a little bit of a safer way. So I'm going to close out the profits. Again, it's a little bit over 255 so far for the day, so I'm halfway to my daily goal. And it's a great start. It's a great way to start the morning. We just want to make sure that we keep that momentum going. So again, 1 minute and 20 seconds left until the market opens, and kind of go from there. Oh, so we have a couple of people that know who we are.
Yeah, I see that.
That's so cool. Sweet.
I figured I'd be recognized.
Yeah, right. But yeah, just broke down the positions. Is there anything? I wanted to talk about kind of like what I see trending up and what I see trending down. We have a minute left, right? So right here, when it comes down to like the SQs and the TQs, right? So if you look at all together /NQ, you could see that it's been showing signs of this descending pattern. So right now, /NQ is trying to recover, which means that TQ is trying to recover. It's been rejected by this SMA indicator. So only if this pattern continues of this continuous sell-off, so we bounced off the middle VWAP, we kind of expected that, right? Now it's bouncing and potentially getting rejected off the SMA line, or if it continues to uptrend, then it's going to be in favor of TQs, right? As of right now, TQs should be a little bit more on the overextended side. So we see that right around the middle VWAP. If we see any signs of a rejection, then that means that SQs can be right around that overall support for that middle VWAP and because it's been making higher highs, right? So it's been bouncing off the middle VWAP and trading off the top VWAP as well. So 1 second left. Here we go. Here we go. We're getting a potential bounce. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to go in with the, oh shoot. That took a while to fill. Okay, so we have the MACD. Again, I went in with that 50% position. So we have it trying to show signs of an uptrend right now. That TQQ is still trying to show signs of an uptrend. Here we go. ESTY broke above its resistance 44.75. So I set my alert for the break above 13.40, 13.30. There we go. Another. And again, my position isn't too big, but the really cool thing about this is that it's been making higher highs, right? So the last resistance was right around 13.35. So it's something that we can take into consideration. If we see this thing making higher highs, then guess what? I could add more to my position. What I really want to pay a lot of attention to is the overall correlation between this. So this is still showing signs. You see this? It got rejected by this SMA line. It was trading between the middle and top VWAP, but it's been making lower highs. So because of the sell-off, we could try to identify its direction. That's really like my main focus. So as long as we identify its direction and can identify a pattern, it's much easier for me to try to not predict a reversal, but have a little bit more of a sense of the direction, right? So DGAS just broke above that specific price point we just made. Lower lows, lower highs. Let's see where it's at. It's really struggling to break above, what is that, 1332. So we could see /NQ. Get a little bit closer. Here we go. So we're getting a lot of consolidation as of right now. The MACD is still showing signs of a descending pattern. We're still seeing lower high, or the candles making lower highs, which is ideally what we want to see. So we're back at 1330. What I'm going to do is, just because we don't have a full-on confirmation and the market just opened, I'm going to sell my position here. And again, super conservative, but here we go. So I'm up $40. Again, not much whatsoever. And I just want to make sure that we stay in the green, and the volatility is actually so high. Yeah. So did you see it was just at 30? It pulls back to 27, 28, 29. So I think I'm going to have to run this with the limit order, just because it's just not there when it comes down to. So we'll see if I can get filled and kind of go from there. But there we go. 1330, 1330, 1330. 1330. Nope, but there's a pretty big wall of sellers at 1330. I think we're gonna break it. Let's see. I'll edit this. I just really want to get out of it. So and it just broke below. So if I would have had it at 1329, knowing that the resistance could be at 1330, would have gotten filled. But now its direction is changing. Let's take a look at this. So now we're back at the resistance. So are we going to start making higher highs? The market just opened, so its direction can definitely change. So are we going to start seeing higher highs? Yeah, so it looks like it is starting or beginning to make higher highs. And let's take a look at DGAS. DGAS was still selling off. So here we go. TQs back at that SMA line, back at that middle VWAP. But again, it's still like not a good deal. It's really overextended. And although it is pushing up, all power to it. It's just, it's not necessarily the best deal as of right now. Just one up today. Okay, yeah, I did see /CO have a really nice push up, so that should be in favor of UWT, right? So UWT is green on the day, and as well as Gush that follows. So Gush is up 9% on the day, and it's still making higher highs. So okay, so we'll add that to our watch list. And then UWT. You guys, as of right now, still trying to make higher highs. So again, its overall direction is definitely still there. The one thing about you guys is that it's a descending MACD, so it makes sense on why it can begin to sell off. Let's check this out. Where are we at? There we go. So once we start getting a confirmation, if this thing begins to make lower highs, we can see a change in direction. What was that? ESV. Okay, so ESV is back at making higher highs. It just recently broke above $7.50. So now we're approaching this SMA line that can act as a resistance, something to be well aware of. But again, on the day it is trending up. On the overall 180-day chart, it is also trending up as well. So again, pretty good direction when it comes down to what is showing signs of an uptrend, especially for this specific week. So looking at the 5-day, 5-minute chart pattern, we could see that again, right now at the price point that it's at right now, it wouldn't be viewed as the best deal, but we could see a very consistent pattern of this thing making higher highs. So instead of trying to buy it and trying to ride it as this thing trying to push up, it would make more sense on maybe why to wait a little bit more for a sell-off closer to the SMA line and see if this thing continues to push up. So what's going on, Don? What's up? Ricky, you're missing out on Gush. I don't think I'm going to want to trade Gush. It's just not something that I think I'm going to want to do. So looking at /NQ, here we go. There. Okay. There we go. All right, so we're still slightly getting rejected by this EMA line. Do we see this? So as of right now, this EMA line is still acting as an overall reversal. I'm going to have to remove that there. But yeah, overall EMA line still holding and acting as a resistance. So that's really just what caused this thing to push down /NQ. Thanks for being early, of course. Had some really good sleep last night. It's been really cool having daylight savings to work with, our schedule. So let's see. Ricky made enough yesterday to buy a new shirt. This was actually given to me by some of the people that we have staying over. So I guess I didn't make that much, right? Oh, there we go. Another huge push up for /NQ. So its overall direction does look like now it is changing. Although the MACD is super overextended, we could see that it's really been making higher highs and higher lows as well. So we have to give it that. And I tried to predict the reversal a little bit too early. So on the next sell-off, if it comes back down to this general area, I'm going to have to, cut losses there. So I like that, Caesar. That's so cool. Yeah, is Arizona one of those states that doesn't do daylight savings? That is correct. Who's your guest? Guest is Ryan. Let's see. I think we're good. Hey, what's going on, Joe? Welcome to the team. 4:30 a.m. is way better. Oh my goodness, you're in Hawaii. I remember when I went to go visit Hawaii and that difference in time. That was really bad. Hey, what's going on, Caesar? What's up? Would you ever have a greet-in meet? Once we have like the Tech Solutions HQ, just so we have like an actual like location where it's not just you guys meeting me, but you guys meeting the team and having something to do with it, right? That would make a little bit more sense to me. But all right, we're reaching a price point where it's becoming a little bit more on the overextended side for ticker symbol TQs. So let's check this out. Around 55.40. So right now we're right around 55.14. We're definitely reaching this area where it's been rejected before. So looking at it during pre-market hours, we can see a slight, oh, there it goes. Wow, that thing's selling off a little bit quicker than normal. Okay. There it goes, broke below 55, bouncing. There we go, below 55. Okay, slight recovery, slight recovery. There we go. And it's almost fully recovered back to that 55.20. I mean, the overall direction for ticker symbol TQs, I'm just going to have to set my alert just because it's just not in our favor as of right now. So, or in my favor, right? So it's trying to head back down. We'll have to see where it continues. And I'm going to set another one as we get closer to the overall highs around 55.40. So I'll set an alert there. There we go, and then if it breaks below the middle view up in the EMA line, we can set it there. All right, so what else is everyone else looking at today? So I saw a couple people talk about DGAS and UGAS, right? The overall potential reversal. I have my alert set here. So obviously UGAS is now super overextended. DGAS being on the oversold side. So now waiting for that pending reversal, not trying to predict it. Same thing when it comes down to UWT and Gush, right? The ones that correlate on over to /CL. So /CL is definitely super overbought. Now it's actually starting to show signs of a reversal. So although they're super, in the green, it makes sense on why they might begin to sell off. So again, we've talked about this multiple times where when something opens up super green, super aggressive, it opens up like 5-10% up on the day. That doesn't mean that overall direction is going to continue to follow. And I think that's very important to know. And that's why we have access to the correlating futures to make sure that we could see that once it starts to really offer, again, just like we talked about the reversal pattern when we're trying to buy the dip, the same thing happens with this peak formation, right? Where it peaks out, starts to not make higher highs anymore, starts to consolidate, and then its overall direction begins to change. We could have easily seen that when we could see this thing, falling below the SMA line and beginning to make lower highs as well. So I would say watch out for DWT. If this thing breaks below the middle VWAP, it would be DWT and DRIP, which are the inverse ETFs of UWT and Gush, that I would follow a little bit closer. Again, we don't know if it's going to actually sell off. It could totally bounce you at the middle VWAP, but it's just being on your toes and making sure that you're quick to take action. Now, when it comes down to the correlating futures for gold, so it looks like /GC is having a sell-off, which means that JNUG should be selling off. Let's double check on this. Yep. So again, opened up very green, at least during pre-market hours, and then just began to sell off and pour down, right? What happened? Oh. I got scared. I was like, what the heck happened? So TQs as of right now is still selling off. Again, we're around that EMA line, so we might get a bounce here. It's definitely something that we could expect. So again, the MACD is definitely in our favor, but the overall direction is, which is I think more important. The overall direction is in the favor of TQs, and there it goes, pushing right back up again. So unless its overall direction continues to make lower lows and lower highs, that would obviously be in our favor. But we have to follow and see what happens there. So DGAS, DIS is selling off, so that's Disney. Thank you again for the reminder. Okay, I like that. I'm watching SQs or SQ, Square. Okay, Square. Yeah, so SQ. I did get an alert for them. Why was that? Why is that so relevant? 5-day, 5-minute chart. It's been making higher highs on recent patterns. Overall earnings report is today. Okay, and we're approaching, again, it's based on previous patterns, we're approaching this potential resistance on this SMA line. And again, this is my opinion. You guys don't have to follow it. But I personally don't like holding during earnings. I don't know if it's going to be a positive nor a negative catalyst. It's an unknown, right? Especially because I'm not a fundamental trader. So if you're going to try to guesstimate, if you should get in or get out, it's all about risk management, right? So if you want to day trade it, all power to you. Just know that it does have an earnings report. And if you want to know when that earnings report is, it is going to be at 4 p.m. Central Time, 11/7/2018. So I think that's very important to know for all those that are trading ticker symbol SQ today, which is Square, the Square app, right? And a lot of people are probably following PayPal as well, right? So PayPal showing that same pattern of, again, not the best deal. It's definitely pushing up, but again, it's more in that seller's market than I think the buyer's market because of how much it's built that distance from the EMA line. So it based off previous patterns, it's due for a pullback for it to consolidate and push back up again. Overextended, due for a pullback, and we could see that with the MACD and the RSI. It doesn't have an up and coming earnings report, so there we go. SQ just broke back above, so we're having a really nice recovery. We just broke above the middle VWAP and the EMA line, so we might have something interesting to see here. Again, if this thing continues to sell off, that's in my favor, but we'll see how it turns out. I actually didn't think it was going to recover this quick. We're just all sorts of lucky today. Here we go. Let's look at /NQ again. Here's the sell-off. Oh, there it goes. So I'll set an alert down here just to... All right. Andres, what's going on? Good morning. AMD awaiting reversal. Sean, I like that. Let's check it out. So awaiting reversal. So Sean, what does that mean that you're awaiting reversal? Because overall right now it's direction. So on the day, yes, it's up, right? So it's been making higher highs during pre-market hours, but on the day, I mean, as of right now, since the market has opened, it's been pulling back. So what is your plan? Sean, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just want to have a better understanding of what you plan on doing, right? Like what will instill you to, or motivate you to take a position? Because as of right now on the 180-day chart, it's been making higher highs, but it's not a good deal. I think we're all aware of that, right? Looking at the 1-day, 1-minute chart, its overall direction is changing. So not just Sean, but for anyone that is looking at AMD or for that might see potential in AMD, what is it that we might want to wait for? So overall, the pattern, and I'll share it as well. The overall SMA line has been acting as a support during pre-market hours. There we go. TQQ just sold off again, so that makes me from red to green. So I'm pretty happy on that. But again, let's focus on you guys. As of right now, overall SMA line has been acting as a support, so we would need that verification, right? That right now it's making lower lows and lower highs. I would need it to bounce right around the SMA line, bounce, and then start showing signs of an uptrend. Okay, I like that. So around $21, which is relatively close to or near to that SMA line. I think that's very important to know. So you said that you're looking at the 5-day, 5-minute chart and how this was acting as a support for the SMA line. I like that pattern. I like that you're able to identify as it pushed up and became very overextended that it's no longer a good deal and why you're patiently waiting for the overall reversal. I mean, that definitely does make a lot of sense. Let's just make sure that we have a huge focus on direction. And if its overall direction is not showing signs of an uptrend, that we don't force that entry, right? That's one of the worst things in to try to predict a reversal and the overall direction still making lower lows and lower highs, especially when it's overbought even on the larger charts. Sweet. JNEG about to bounce. Okay, I like that. So again, looking at recent patterns, we can see that the highs of JNEG are, above $8. The lows of JNEG are around $7.50, $7.60. So I think that's safe to say that it's at a support. It doesn't mean that it has to bounce. It's just at an area where it can. So I'll set an alert here for the break above this, and then I'll set an alert as it should be making higher highs when it breaks above 780. So if its overall direction changes, even around 780 to about $8, and it was definitely there. So again, asking yourself, is it even possible for JNEG to hit highs of $8 today just because it was there yesterday? That's why we look at pre-market hours. We could see that it was at like $8.05 during pre-market hours. That still doesn't mean that it has to hit it. It just means that it's probably more likely than, if it was just yesterday. So as of right now, to the $8 price point from 780, that's 2.61%. That could be a day trade worth taking, at least for me, right? The margin of profit is worth it. And you have to ask yourself, just because it's worth it for me doesn't mean that it should be worth it for you. So is it something that you see value in or want to take advantage of? Sean, I like that. Well, I don't, UGAS just broke below and DGAS just broke above. I don't like that you made the mistake, but I like that you're able to share that you worked for Apple for a long period of time. You tried to predict the reversal and it still didn't go according to plan. Obviously, we don't want you to be like, in the red or in that in any way. But it's great for you to make that at least observation at a very early age that, we're not here to predict reversals, right? So as of right now, it looks like this thing might begin to start selling off again. I definitely don't want to risk it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just end up cutting losses. So it went from, if this thing continues to make lower lows, I'm just going to have to sell it. So I was up on it for about 0.1 seconds. And then no, it's actually going to end up making lower lows. Yeah, overall S and Q. Wow, that thing's really shooting up. So and I should have paid more attention. I was too focused on the breakdowns, but we could see that the MACD, so you guys see the MACD was showing signs of a peak formation. The overall direction for the RSI changed, and the overall pattern honestly did change. I just wasn't paying too much attention. Yeah, let's. D-gas just broke above 1090. There we go. It went from green to red. We're actually seeing lower highs. Are we? Yeah. Still too early to tell. Oh, there it goes. Nope. Let's see. Did the stream stop? So we have Caesar saying that the stream stopped. It shouldn't have. It's still running its screen. Okay, so we're still going. Sweet. All right, there we go. Nice little sell-off again. There we go. Perfect. So that was pretty close. I was pretty close to cutting losses on it. Now its direction is it's aggressively selling off now. Wow. Holy moly. It's Jason Bourne. Here we go. Approaching this potential support. Does anyone know if you could use margin in TD Ameritrade? Yeah, you can use margin on TD Ameritrade. If you're someone that hasn't proven to themselves that you can consistently grow your account, I would not, trade with margin. Just, yeah. I think it's something that you have to work towards, where you can see that you can continuously grow your account with the money that you already have, rather than trying to use, the leverage that TD Ameritrade allows you to use. Here we go. Nice little sell-off. Boom, boom, boom. Where did the Jason Bourne joke come from? When we were in Europe, so me and the guys, every time that we saw a car that was going down this alley, I don't know. That's all we really knew of Europe. We were just holy moly, it's Jason Bourne. But yeah, so not really that funny. It was funny to us because there were cars that we don't normally see in the US. Why don't I get aftermarket alerts on TOS? Alerts don't get triggered during aftermarket hours, during extended hours. That's why I put my alerts on futures and not the ETF. Thanks for the answer, Ricky. I appreciate it, of course. Okay. So I'm gonna send it first. Yeah, that was definitely not the best idea. Okay, I should have sent it a lot earlier. So again, I was a little bit too early. So overall direction, I mean, it's still making like lower highs. I just think it's a little bit too early within the stage of SQ to try to predict the reversal. That was my mistake. It's definitely still something that I can come back to. But I should have definitely, as I saw it struggling. Yeah. So now it's back up to where I bought at 1320. But again, it's a very small amount. So based off of where I sold, so my average price was 1323 and I sold at 1316. So my overall percentage loss was 0.5%. And again, it's not going to be very difficult for me to make up that 0.5%. I would rather just not be so caught into the loop of something that's, still trying to decide its direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my alert and wait for that recovery and simply go from there. So it was a total of 9 cents that I lost per share. So that led to a $138 loss. And again, it's because of the dollar amount that I was trading with. It was a little bit over $20,000, and it's not a huge price to pay, because especially if I wait for its overall direction to change, that's what's going to be most important. So here we go. How many people are in DGAS right now? So DGAS hit 1096. Yep, now it's pulling back a little bit, right? So look at the RSI and look at the MACD. When are you guys going to lock in profits? All of you guys should be up. Sold half of my position, okay. Here we go. JNX getting very close to this overall reversal. But watch out for that MACD again. Possible more time for consolidation. So locked in, okay. Dang, I was trying to look at natural gas the entire time. There we go. So we should start seeing signs of this thing continuing to sell off. So natural gas should begin to sell off as the overall EMA line is still pointing down. Again, it is a little bit on the oversold side for natural gas. That means that degas isn't necessarily, such a good deal, right? It's a little bit more on the overbought side, and the MACD is a little bit more overextended. So it's kind of just the direction that it really begins to trend. And as of right now, it's still trending down, right? So as long as you get closer or near to the EMA line, as this thing sells off, then I think that's what's important. What do I have on my list that's not trending up? So as of right now, this thing is overbought. So I'm just going to remove a couple of things off my list. Okay, FE is still pushing up. We got the ETFs. Sweet. There we go. Again, it's just a little bit more on the overbought side, so. Okay. Yeah, so just letting it do its thing. I like that, Don. So okay, do your thing. So I don't think there's any minutes or amount of time that you should wait to take a position when the market opens. My biggest thing, as we've talked about it multiple times, is I think that there's so many people that try to say like, okay, well, I only want to trade during power hour or within the first 30 minutes of the market open because that's where the volatility is at. It's like, that's such a generic answer. I want to take a position when I see value in something and when I see value in a pattern, when I see a good deal. That should be like your sole focus. And it sometimes can be right at market open. It sometimes can be 4 hours after the market opens, or it could be not even throughout that entire day at all. And that's something that we have to be very well aware of, that sometimes we don't have to take a position if you don't see value and it doesn't meet your specific criteria. Oh, Jonathan, that's not a good thing to have. You're not locking in profits till it hits 200? Again, let's not chase the dollar value, right? And as of right now, it's actually showing signs of a peak formation. Look at the RSI, look at the MACD, the descending MACD, and look how, if this thing begins to trade below the EMA line, we could see an easy change of direction. Especially with looking at /NG a little bit closer, we could see it really consolidating around this above 1351. And if it breaks above this EMA line and begins to make higher highs, definitely something that I would kind of look out for. So again, let's be patient for that. Here we go. TQs again, making higher highs once again. So I'm going to try to... Go. All right. There we go. Really strong push on ticker symbol /NQ. So that means that sent TQ pushing up. There we go. Again, we're approaching that territory of that 1540. And now the RSI is definitely much more on the overextended side. So again, now we wait for a pullback. There we go. So for all those that are in TQQ, it's not that you have to lock in profits. It's just making the observation that during pre-market hours, it's at a price point on where it's not such a good deal anymore and where it's peaked out before. So you can do your own analysis and see what makes the most sense for you. Looking at the 5-day, 5-minute chart, I like how it's been trying to make higher highs, and its overall direction has been really changing. So I think that's very important to be aware of. Also, just taking into consideration its overall previous resistance, I think if we go on the 20-day 1 hour, we could see a potential change in direction. So that's actually in favor of our market. So if TQs begins to recover, that's definitely going to be in favor of the overall market condition, right? So sweet. There we go. Nice little sell off, and this is where I'll sell my position. Not NQ. I was just like, man, this thing really sold off. Nope. There we go. I'm just going to keep it simple and lock it in here. So I got filled at 1312, and that's for ticker symbol SQ. And of course, as soon as I sell, it begins to, or SQs, right? So I was able to recover quite a bit of it. So remember I was down like how much was I down? Like 130 or 150 or 160, something like that. Now I'm only down $53.40. Again, it's not like that's any better. Again, I just was able to buy the dip and sell the peak. It's still a descending pattern, so I just wanted to see how that play would perform. Overall TQ and its overall direction is still showing signs of an uptrend. It's, so now we're just going to see if it begins to make lower highs or higher highs and kind of go off of that. So there it goes, starting to recover. DGAS running away. Ooh, congrats to all those in DGAS. Look at the R sign, look at the MACD. Let's not be focused on every single cent that you could make off of a stock, but just understanding that you get in for a good price and that you get out for even a better price. How long have we been live for? 40 minutes. So we got 5 more minutes and then we'll call it a day. Here we go. We got JNUG and its direction starting to change. Let's confirm this with /GC. Okay, so I would just watch out for this. The overall SMA line is still pointing down. So although it looks like its direction is just about to change, we could also be at a resistance with the SMA line. So I would like to give it a little bit more time. Also looking at the RSI, it's not the best deal. So that just means we have to give it more time for consolidation or confirmation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So just being a little bit more patient with that. So this thing was around this area. It pushed up another 1.5%. Sweet. How many of you are still holding ticker symbol DGAS? I want a show of hands. Eric, yeah, I've not started trading yet, but can you set a stop limit near the resistance? And that's called an OCO bracket, Michael. It's covered in the course. So that's why we encourage you to complete the entire course before, actually trading or actively asking like a bunch of questions, just because that's the whole purpose of the course, to provide, that information. So just sold it. Yep, me, nope. I'm in. Okay. You guys are some risky people. Again, just a nice little friendly reminder. It's not a good deal right now, right? It's extremely overbought. Yes, it can continue to uptrend, but I think the odds are definitely more in a sell-off than they are in pushing up. So if you don't have a limit order or an order ready to sell, I would at least follow with a stop loss just to make sure that you lock in some of the profits and don't go from being green to red. Again, one of the things that we ask ourselves is, is the extra 0.05% or extra 1% that you possibly can make off of whatever position that you're in really worth not locking it in to potentially, discourage yourself to ever trade again and go from green to red? It's just thinking about like the big picture, right? And I know that you want to make the most money today, but trust me, again, your trading account today is not what it can be like 5-10 years down the road. So there's no reason to discourage yourself. Locked in at 10.99. Ricky, do you ever use OCO brackets? OCO brackets are for like when I'm not actively watching the market. So it's something that I introduced again in the course. As for people that are a little bit more busy, want to follow with a stop loss and want to follow with a limit order, it allows you to perform both. So I've definitely used them before, but I'm always active on my phone. I mean, I do this full time, right? So that's a really cool thing about it. But for those that can't do it full time or are going to be like consumed with time, I've used it multiple times where I'm about to jump on a call, and I'm just not going to actively be watching the market. So watch out for this. I'm going to trade against you guys now, just for all those that aren't locking in profits. Let's have some fun. TQ is making higher highs. Yep, I do see that. So I've watched the course. I still just don't know how to use those. I literally show you in the course like how to add, or how to use the OCO bracket on the mobile phone, don't I? If you need more assistance, or if just the video isn't working out well for you, feel free to direct message me. I'd encourage you to watch it again, and just to make sure that you're focusing on what it is that I'm saying. But yeah, of course, Caesar. I could actually show you right now. So let me actually just, okay. So one of the things that, I'm in right now on, ticker symbol UGAS, right? You can see my position. You can see that it's a little bit over $20,000. I can click close position, and then it comes up with these 3 different options with OCO bracket. I can click with OCO bracket and click close. And the really cool thing about this is that it allows me to select where I want to cut losses and where I want to lock in profits. That's simple. And then I just click confirm. Really cool thing about this is that we don't have to sell right now because you guys just pushed up. Boom, boom, boom. I was just kidding. So we just made another $80. I'm totally joking with you guys. Again, I didn't want to trade against you. I just want to make sure that we instill that value of always locking in profits. And, I think it was very easy to see that you guys was starting to show signs of a peak formation and stuff like that. So, you guys, I hope you guys know that I'm just joking around with you and trying to have fun. So I hope no one gets offended that I went against some of the traders and stuff like that. It's just reminding you guys, slapping you guys back into place that, hey, don't forget to lock in those profits, right? So let's check this out. Here we go. So the beginning of it making higher highs. Here we go. And I could be completely wrong. This thing can push up and this thing can completely sell off. And that will be not in my favor and in the favor of DGAS. But again, it's just thinking of the bigger picture. Thinking that, wow, looking at previous patterns, it's almost identical to where it recovered, right? Where it reversed. You see this? So it makes sense on why it can recover around this area. It doesn't mean that it has to. It just means that it can. And just that possibility of it can, you just have to ask yourself, is it worth holding? Is it worth being that much more greedy to try to milk every cent out of that stock where you don't really know where it's going to peak out at, but you know that now it's overbought? And it makes sense, big picture, on why it's in a price range that you should probably sell. You wouldn't buy there, so why wouldn't you sell it? You get what I'm saying? Thick Rick with the knowledge. You guys crack me up. But yeah, I think we passed a little bit above that 5-minute mark, or the 45-minute mark. Where are we at? 48 minutes. So I had a lot of fun with what it was that we were doing today. I literally am almost exact. I took one bad trade, right, with ticker symbol SQ. So I recovered a majority of it. I'm still down $50 on that position. But because of what I'm up on you guys, I'm pretty much back where I was when I first started the live stream, which is halfway to my daily goal. So that wasn't very effective nor efficient. But again, we had a lot of fun. I think we broke down a lot of deals of what was trending up, what was trending down. And now it's just about locking in profits, right? So let's keep it simple. We could see that this thing is, whoa, what was that? There we go. Nice little push up. So I'm up 255 on this alone. So we'll see how this ends up recovering. Looking at previous patterns, we might get rejected around this general area. I just want to see if this thing begins to make higher highs and simply go from there. So hope you guys had a lot of fun. For those that are joining us for the first time on these live streams, I want to thank Ryan again for tuning in. What do you think?
It's pretty interesting. It's totally the opposite of what I do, but it's cool to see the other side, because I used to do little swing trading when I first got into the stock market, but it was definitely not for me just because of the emotions getting involved.
Yeah.
And just kind of panicking about stuff, or having an emotional attachment to your trades.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be that kind of person who's not getting involved emotionally with what you're doing with
Yeah.
your trading.
I like it. I like it. So, yeah, thank you guys again so much for tuning in. If you guys have any questions about what it is that we covered today, feel free to ask it in the Q&A section for Learn, Plan, Profit. On top of that, if you want to direct message me, feel free to do so. Again, welcome to all of our new traders. I really hope that you enjoyed this live stream. If you have any tips on how we can make it better for you, all you have to do is direct message me. Please do me the biggest favor, and if you're someone that's just getting started within the Learn, Plan, Profit course, that you complete the entire course, please, before asking a bunch of questions, as that is the whole purpose of the course. So wish you guys an amazing Wednesday. Let's continue working hard, continue following our dreams, let our passion be what drives us in our success, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.